carry you, rule. I wasn't looking for you for me, but when your face appeared on the Psychology Today Therapist Finder, my eyebrow furrowed, my sight narrowed, and a feeling in my solar plexus ignited. You. There was just something about you, a knowing before an experience, intuition, prescient, soul contract, karma. I could go on and on about the possible labels for that moment. I was going through a divorce, in need of guidance and support. Even though you were in Seattle, which meant crossing a bridge and paying for parking and facing city traffic and city sounds, I was different back then and could cross bridges, pay for parking, face city traffic and city sounds, and in need of support and guidance. And there was just something about you. I initiated the connection, asking if you would be willing to consult with me about entering back into the psychology field. I moved to the area as a mom, not a therapist. I thought that part of my life was over when I had my son, until the big D. With no network in the area, I was feeling my way in the dark. You graciously accepted my request. I did not know then you were one of the founders of the largest group of Seattle psychologists. I did not know then that your co-founder was a co-founder of the largest group of East Side psychologists. There was just something about you, and there was something about me for you, which was why you opened doors for me. Even though your colleagues on the East Side rejected my initial attempt, which I expected, after looking at their CVs, I knew I didn't have a chance. I knew I didn't measure up in their world. My path was different. I was different, which was why you stepped in and had a side conversation with your colleague. You just need to meet her. I didn't look good on paper. Paper never did me justice. You did. Both look good on paper and do me justice, because when they met me, they threw the doors open for me. Sort of. I still had to complete the necessary steps in the name of due diligence, which I understood. I was an auditor back in the day. I appreciated the value of due diligence. I messed that up. It almost cost me the opportunity, but you saved my ass again. You explained to your colleagues that I came from the consulting and business world. When I gave them a reference for a woman I'd been guiding with her business, naturally in the psychotherapy world, that is a big no-no, a major breach of confidentiality. But you stuck your neck out for me by bridging the gap between our worlds. You stuck with me as I made this transition with my crazy ideas of not taking insurance because I had a vision, and that included not getting tangled with insurance companies. First, I didn't want to diagnose people. It was something that never sat well with me. Second, I didn't think it was right for me to provide information to any company about a client. That meant insurance. I wanted my clients to have agency on what information would be provided to justify the expense. If they didn't want their confidential information used for reimbursement, that was their choice. I didn't want to do anything behind their backs, even with their consent. But after a few months of working in a group that was guaranteed to launch me, and many months after my separation and upcoming divorce, with very few clients in my office, I folded, and I gave into industry pressure. No skipping steps. I had to follow the process, or be iced out. You never said, "I told you so," nor did you ditch me when my practice was overflowing with a waitlist longer than my lifetime. When I asked for a consult with you about a caseload, you stated the obvious that I couldn't see. "Kim, you have too many suicidal ideations in your practice. You have to stop taking these on." But who would? People were clamoring to get into therapy. I took your guidance to heart because I knew you had my heart, because there was just something about you and something about me. I was really surprised when out of the blue in one of our consults you said, "Kim, you have a really unique perspective. You should consider writing." I didn't like writing. I didn't really like the third-person omniscient voice I needed to command credibility in my profession. That's one of the reasons my CV was meager and rejectable by our colleagues. I smiled and appreciated the guidance, and it was one of the few times I didn't take your guidance to heart. So I thought. Could that have been your intuition? Prescient? A soul contract? Karma? I started to slip away, disappear from you. It was a slow disappearing, a gradual emergence of departing. What started as a boon to belong became a this again feeling of feeling alien. I was at the holiday party hosted by the co-founders. One of the women had a lovely custom-built home nestled in the side of a mountain, evergreens for a fence line. Maybe it was intuition, but I parked on the road at the bottom of their impressive driveway, giving me the option to leave without requiring others to move their cars, already stacking one after another on the long, steep driveway. I was alone, because I was divorced, with small kids who were with their dad for the weekend. I came through the large, ornately carved wood doors into a glorious mountain escape. I carried a bag of goodies in my arms for the potluck and placed my offering on the granite counter. And I watched, and I felt myself shrink, watching pockets of people with their spouses and kids gather in clusters while I stood alone next to the food, feeling invisible, on purpose, like a wallflower, seeking the shrub to fold into and a bud to close within. I headed for the bathroom, took a moment to collect myself and make a decision. Did I push my way through this? Did I force myself to belong? I was thankful my car was all the way down the hill, away from everyone, so I could slip away. So I did. After this experience with my colleagues, I stayed back until I felt less foreign by my marital status, hoping that was a culprit of my holiday disappearing act. I joined our consult group, where my colleagues support each other. We'd share difficult cases, offer guidance or insights, and hopefully halt burnout, common in the field. I still had you, but it felt like I needed to expand my horizons, stretch outside my comfort zone, and forge my way into the world you opened to me. A colleague was sharing a really difficult case. I could see she was truly struggling, trying to find a way to help her client. A senior member of our group, senior because he seemed to command the respect of others, maybe because he'd been with the group so long, or maybe he had an impressive CV with published writing that validated his credibility. He spoke. Sometimes you just have to enter their crazy. Something within me recoiled, while another part leaned forward and internally said, "That's interesting." My mind saw a castle with high walls and a moat. The drawbridge was closed. The therapist was standing outside hollering to her client to come out. To no avail, this guidance suggested she enter the castle, the crazy castle. I liked the idea of entering another world. That felt right to me. My recoil was responding to the word, crazy. Even if said in jest, there was something dismissive about it, something like we were better than them, higher than them. I never spoke in the consult, and I never returned. I felt guilty. I stopped reaching out to you. I felt guilty when I exited all the doors you opened. I felt like I disappointed you. You saw something in me. I saw something in you. It just didn't go the way we thought it would. But I want you to know you were right. I was going to write, just not what we thought it would be. And I can only hope it doesn't disappoint you. It's not that I think therapy is a sham or that these experiences convey an entire profession or a practice. It's just that I didn't belong, just like your colleagues pointed out. But like you knew then, they had to meet me to understand me, just like you did. Even though I would never measure up in that world, I had another world to write about.